Every day at sunup, Vivian Hoyt hops on her motor scooter and heads for the beach. On this summer morning, she goes to the warm waters of one of the quaint communities that make up Huatulco, Mexico. Later, she relaxes in a hammock while the family's pet, Juliet, competes with a book for Vivian's attention. This is a far cry from her former life in the United States.
I love the people, the music, the ocean, the jungle. I think do what you love, figure out what it is you've always loved. Maybe you liked photography at one time, you're stuck in a cubicle right now, but what do you love to do? What is your heart telling you? And follow that. Your heart always has the wisdom, so listen to that and do it.
The Hoyts love the lower cost of living in Mexico. They rent this colorful house with 2 bedrooms, large living room and full kitchen for less than $600 a month. It's not the life the parents of many boomers directed them to when they were growing up.
You've been fed. We've all been fed. We've been educated. We've all been educated on how to be in the world, and it's, you can do that, but it's not going to be rewarding for you, and it's not really viable for everybody. In fact, it's not really viable for anybody. So you've been fed this, but you don't have to live it.
And by the hundreds of thousands, other baby boomers aren't living it anymore either. They're moving to Mexico, Ecuador, Panama, Costa Rica, and many other countries, including some in Europe and Southeast Asia. They're doing this because many of them have been laid off, outsourced, and forced to retire from high-paying jobs they held for decades. According to Dr. Teresa Cooney, chair of the sociology department at the University of Colorado, Denver, boomers are especially vulnerable.
There are costs to employers to keeping older adults in the workforce because, they cost more in terms of health insurance. And so employers, when you're providing health insurance for your workers, those workers are going to be more expensive. They've usually accumulated higher salaries. It's hard to keep them in the workplace.
Meanwhile, the boomer generation is exploding. Currently, there are 76 million boomers, with roughly 10,000 turning 65 every day. And economists say many of them have a net worth of under $200,000. But with the demographics projecting people living well into the late 70s and 80s, many boomers worry they don't have enough money to last that long. Brent Green has written 4 books on boomers and is one of the country's most popular speakers on aging.
There are, unfortunately, a group of the boomer generation, some estimate as high as 40%, that are purely unprepared for retirement. Their only fallback position will be the traditional Social Security and to cover health expenses, Medicare or Medicaid. That is not enough of a financial wherewithal for most people to live successfully in our economy.
So the answer for many of them is to find a new way to earn extra money. This man has counseled thousands of boomers to understand how to do that by teaching them to reach deep and retool their skills to create a portable stream of income. He calls himself the Barefoot Consultant.
The Barefoot Consultants is essentially a training organization. We develop training programs and provide coaching for baby boomers primarily that want to learn how to earn an income, a part-time or a full-time income, by working online. We call this a portable income, and many of our members are people that have actually moved abroad or are thinking about moving abroad in their retirement.
Churchill lives his own life in Mexico, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Panama, and other countries, taking a portable stream of income wherever he goes. Some mornings he's hard at work online while enjoying an early cup of tea in the center of a picturesque Mexican town. At other parts of the day, he's working from home on another of his portable computing devices that connect him to the internet.
Most boomers have more skills than they realize. When they started fooling around with computers about 15 years ago in the workplace, they wound up doing a lot more writing of things like reports, preparing presentations, and a lot of them have skills that are in demand, but they're almost invisible skills to them. So, you know, the first step is helping them to understand what skills they actually have. In my program now, there are people that, you know, they're freelancing and they're working on an ebook.
What Churchill is teaching is part of an employment wave that is sweeping America and changing the very nature of work itself. The big software company Intuit has studied this change and predicts that by 2020, 40% of all jobs in the U.S. workforce will be done by freelancers. That's 60 million people. The U.S. Department of Labor says following the recent recession, the unemployment rate has recovered slowly, except in one area, freelance workers. That group has flourished, increasing 29%. More and more boomers are finding their way into that growing freelance market. Many of them watched with alarm as their retirement accounts dwindled during the recession, leaving them with less of a financial cushion than they had expected.
They could be wiped out under dire circumstances. So really there's only about 25% of the generation that's going to sail on through retirement and have no financial problems. There's at least 25% to 40% that are going to be in desperate shape unless we change aging and the economic opportunities associated with aging.
That's what Barefoot Consultants offers boomers, a new economic opportunity.
This gives you the freedom of not being constantly worried, am I going to get fired today? I know a lot of my friends now that are still working in some of the technology companies that I work for are making really good money because they've been there a long time, but they tell me that you know, they don't know that any single day now they couldn't be laid off. You know, that could happen because, of course, the way the company looks at it is we're paying this person $150,000 and we could get 3 new MBAs at $50,000 or $60,000 or 2 in pocket $50,000 or $60,000. So that's what they're thinking. And that is no way to live.
Many countries in Latin and South America have good internet connections. Most are inexpensive or free, and host countries don't object to boomers who work there online because it doesn't take jobs away from their own people. It's totally portable. You can work online anywhere there is an internet connection. It's an entirely new work experience. No traffic, no tiny claustrophobic cubicles. And whether it's another country or in the United States, the process is laid back. Sip a cup of joe and get your work done. And when you're through, you pack up your computer, put it in your carry-on luggage, and move on, taking your stream of portable income with you wherever you go.
In some respects, people are calling this kind of work the new retirement because we've had sort of a gunny sack perspective about retirement. You know, you work 20, 30, 40 years, you're throwing a little bit of money into a 401k or an IRA every month, or every week or every paycheck, and then you get to a point and then you start pulling it out.
To protect those retirement funds and provide boomers with income, Barefoot Consultants offers a number of programs, from a short 21-day training experience to year-long intensive programs that not only teach online freelancing, but include live on-site training sessions. International Living, which has been following this trend of Americans retiring overseas for more than 30 years, says more than 1 million boomers have moved to Mexico alone. By some estimates, if the number of boomers who've headed south to Latin and South American countries was properly documented, they would form a group of people large enough to populate the 17th largest state.
That march is going to continue until the last boomer, who just turned 50 this year, turns 65. So you can look at that expanse of years from now until the 50-year-olds today turn 65. So you got 15 more years of boomers turning 65, and that is in March.
This is what most people think of when they dream of retirement. Beautiful beaches, blue water, palm trees, and a gentle breeze. In many countries, boomers can live in places like this, comfortably on Social Security and limited savings. That's almost impossible in many American cities.
I've seen people who this just opens up a whole new world for them. It's wonderful. They don't have to jump in a car. They don't have to put on a suit. They just go online, get their assignments, do their assignments, and then they're done.
Nicholas Negroponte, a well-known pioneer on the frontier of technology, summed it up this way. By the year 2020, the largest employer in the developed world will be self. That's something for all baby boomers to seriously think about. In a world where change to the workplace is coming so fast, it's like watching the momentum that builds daily in America's rush hour traffic. This is Betty Ann Bowser reporting.